Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly, talking fart jokes, and Vanessa does not think it's funny.
They're not. They're not funny.
Farts are funny.
They're not funny. They'll never be funny. It's not funny in life. It's not funny in film.
Well, when you hear me snickering over here for no reason later in this episode, and then you suddenly smell it.
I'm gonna turn far away. I'm gonna lean as far as I can in my seat. Avoid that acid cloud.
Here we are recording live again, and I couldn't be happier. What I'm not happy about.
Uh-oh.
So you guys know that I've been pushing myself as a writer more and more often lately since I have a novel coming out. And by the time you're hearing this, you probably, if you're part of this serialized novel, people probably got your bill for the last chapter and all that stuff. But that means that I've been getting a lot of friend requests from other authors and people I don't know and stuff like that. And I'm like, sure, I'll accept this.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not going to out this guy, but I did unfriend him when I saw this post where he was talking about his new novel that had come out, and it was a horror novel. And he then said, what I really need are reviews. And when you hit 50 reviews, that does something to the algorithm, right? I'd appreciate it, even if you haven't read the book, leaving a nice review for it. It can be 2 sentences long.
Oh, no.
And I just looked at this for a minute and trying to wrap my head around what he was asking, which was, I don't care if you've read my book. Please leave a nice review for it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, hey, are we doing stuff like this? This seems a little shitty, especially to be asking people for stuff like this. But I decided, as I've gotten in my old age, that I don't need to be the shit sir that I used to be. And I just unfriended this person. Then I went back to check on it because I was talking to a couple other authors about him. And I saw an author that I do respect had gone on and said, let me get this straight. You're asking me to write a positive review for a book I haven't read. I can guarantee you that I shall never review or read a book of yours. And I was like, wow, this guy does not mind being a shit stirrer.
Yeah.
And he's actually an established author.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought, how weird that this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, the probably met him. He's a frequent guest of Crypticon, but Matt Shaw engages sort of quite well with people like that, in that he'll screenshot and place like, this is what's happening. Yes, I've unfriended and blocked this person, but just why do you leave this random shit on my page? If you don't like me, just leave. Or if you hate me, give me good reasons and we'll talk it out. I got no problem going back and forth. I've seen lots of authors leave the requests for reviews, but I don't think I've ever seen one. I don't care if you read my book or not.
Right.
That's incredible.
It's something else. And I mean, obviously you want to get some reviews on your book because it looks like people have read it. And people are notoriously bad at leaving reviews. And I'm bad at leaving reviews. I need to go out there and review a few more of these books that I bought that I really enjoyed. Whenever I've asked for reviews for anything, even on this podcast, it's always, please leave an honest review. If you hate it, you don't have to leave the review. But if you feel like you have to leave a review and you hate it, I get it.
But please, if you leave us 1 star, give us a reason. I'd love to hear what the reason is. Don't just tap on 1 star and leave. Come on. Let us know, because we're always talking about vampires. Okay, fine.
At least
listen, I'm about to leave a 1-star review for this show.
Exactly. Like it makes sense.
What I am thinking of doing, since I released this novel in 5 parts first, serialized, I am thinking of reaching out to the 33 people who did it and saying, if you leave an honest review of the novel, I'll send you a copy of the actual novel afterwards to those 33 people. Except then I'm like, I know some of you haven't read the story.
Right.
You bought it as a collector, so I can't have you leaving a review for it.
Sure.
Right.
But I do understand, the need for reviews. That's how people find your name when they're looking for something.
We're in this weird world where anyone under a certain age, let's say, I don't know, 25, lives in a universe of TikTok and YouTube and algorithms where it's as you start to engage with something, a person or a product or whatever, you are asked to leave a review immediately. And I think that shift has overtaken a lot of other things, including things that are a little more old school, like books.
It's such
that was it. Books.
It's such a weird thing because you're putting yourself out there as an artist, and most of us have a little bit of an ego anyway. So, because we've slapped our name on something, and what we really want is people to say nice things about it.
Sure.
But I don't know. There is a part of me that I feel very blessed in that I have a pretty good job, and I don't have to make sales on this book.
Yeah.
And so I can just kind of create this art. And if people like it, fantastic. And if people buy it, fantastic. But if they don't, it's not going to stop me from creating the art.
Yeah. And I think we're in such a weird, toxic time for certain types of writers. I have a very good friend who started making those like animal sex fiction or whatever.
Oh, sure. Good. There you go.
Yes. And she left the film industry, started working, writing these things, which she's really passionate about. But the need for content from the readers is so strong that she has to put out these like 500-600 page books.
What?
Yes.
Oh
like
my
probably
God.
3 or 4 a year. She just chucks these things out because if she doesn't, then like the way the algorithm works is she starts to lose money, and like this is her job. Like this is what she does. So it's become like really difficult for her. And this is something she even enjoys doing. So
yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, the worst thing that could happen to me is the book gets popular and popular enough that I could turn this into a full-time job, because then I think I would probably fucking hate doing it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you never, even if it becomes that popular, you don't have to leave your job. You can keep doing what you're doing. There's nothing telling you to, oh, you're doing really well in this avenue. You should quit everything and only focus
bonus
on
money. I think I should go in and cut and paste Steve's appearance on our show. Send that to him and go, hey, I've got your review. You can just cut and paste this into Killers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the other thing is like, I don't want to ask for reviews because half the people are friends of mine, and then they're going to say something that I'm going to be like, hey, that was really nice of you. Could you tone it down a little bit? I don't feel comfortable with how much you liked something based on us knowing each other this well.
You're just supposed to do what like British people do and just kind of nod and pretend it never happened.
I'm going to be like, is it okay if I knock your rating down to 3 stars instead of 5 stars?
No.
Anyway, I just thought it was really weird and kind of demoralizing to see this guy doing this.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard when you start inviting people you don't know into your circle and you start to see them. I don't know. Like every once in a while I'll log into Facebook and be like, when did I become friends with this incredibly racist, sexist, like a horrific,
Are you talking
politically
about me? Are you looking right at me while you're saying?
I'm not making eye contact. But like I've discovered, especially in the film industry, like I will add a lot of people because I'm like, oh, like we're in the same circle or whatever. And then I'm like, why do I know you? You are saying the most horrific things. And then I'm like, fuck this. No, okay, out. And I don't need to see your bullshit.
Well, speaking of bullshit, I watched a couple of movies this week.
Yeah, cool.
Oh.
You know what? I watched 4 movies, 2 of which I liked very much.
Oh.
2 of which I didn't like very much.
Oh.
I think I'm going to talk about Night Swim, the latest Blumhouse film about the haunted swimming pool. Not very good.
What?
What?
No.
Not very good, except towards the end, it got really good.
Oh.
And I was like, You guys, why did you wait so fucking long?
Oh.
You've already cemented how much I am not enjoying this film. To try and catch me at this late hour is bad. But I have to admit, there was something about the end of it that I really enjoyed a lot. I was afraid it was going to be a lot of, this is all in this guy's head, and I have seen this movie before a bunch of times, and then there's a shift towards the end that I was like, okay, this is cool. Too little, too late, though, you guys. Night Swim is a rental. It is about a family that moves into a house with an old pool, and they kind of clean the pool up and put water in it, and it's a pool that is fed by a spring. So they're making a big deal. The builders are making a big deal about how rare these things are and how they have healing properties and stuff like that. Mm. And of course, one of the guys has an injury that heals very quickly, and you're like, oh, this is getting kind of cool, but there is a price for this kind of stuff, right? This stuff doesn't come free.
The monkey paw of swimming pools.
Absolutely. And I just, at the end of it, I was like, almost. This really needed a rewrite, and I don't know, maybe a stronger director or something like that. But anyway, Night Swim, not for me.
Well, I'm going to talk about something I am freaking loving, which is continuing to watch this season of True Detective, season 3.
Yes.
It's so, to me, I don't know, it's so unbelievably good that I feel bad for anything else that comes out this year, because I'm like, I've already got my favorite show for 2024.
Wow, holy cow.
Yeah, I love the writing, I love the editing, I love the acting, I think the sound design is incredible, I think the ideas are unique and just fun to watch. I can just watch weird shit happening in this small town in Alaska all day long. I don't need to know why. It's just weird. It's like Twin Peaks on ice. Just I'm really enjoying it. But I did see somebody that I know and am, kind of friendly with on Facebook hating on it. Absolutely hating on it. And I found myself getting irrationally angry. And I was just like, why? Why do you dislike it? And I think I just circle back to this thing that we've talked about before, where it's easy to hate something. I think it's really easy to be like, you know what? This thing fucking sucks because apparently because there's a lot of spirals.
Well, look, you can't argue with that. There are a lot of spirals.
Spirals.
Yeah,
sure.
and he was comparing it a lot to season 1, and he has some valid, thoughtful reasons why he disliked it, and I was like, okay, I get it, but it still to me was like, you have to be so blind to so many incredible parts of this and really go in it with sour grapes in your mouth ready to go. That I don't know. I was really frustrated because I was like, I feel like they're just doing so much good work, and it's so hard to make something good. I don't know. Anyway, I'm continuing to enjoy this fucking thing.
Me too. I'm blown away by it. It's part of what I'm finding really interesting is they're pretty much all assholes.
Yeah.
Writers are definitely getting away from that feeling we have to have somebody likable to follow in a show, and this show is deep into that, and they're all great, but there isn't a person that maybe the young detective, maybe the young cop is
the kid
is a little bit of that, but the everything is done well enough that doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The story is what is moving this thing forward as much as anything else.
And everybody has this kind of trauma that even the worst characters you sort of feel like pathos towards. So I don't know. There's a really interesting dynamic where usually I don't enjoy something where all the characters are super hateable, but this time I am just like, I'm okay living with these people.
Yeah, they give them a reason to be dickish, not just
and having those like objects keep showing up from their past, and then they just keep, like the rosary that shows up for the traffic cop or whatever, and she just chucked it out the window, and it's like, this was on your dead mom the last time you saw it. She didn't tell anybody about it. She doesn't, we know there's some kind of horrible thing, and she's like, fuck this thing, I don't want to think about this thing, I don't want this thing here, I'm not going to acknowledge this thing. Might be ghost, might be not, might be in my head, doesn't matter, chucking it out the window. And there's something really neat about that. I don't.
I'm really enjoying it. I don't think it's going to be my favorite thing. It's a little early in the year to say that, but
I know. I know.
I don't like it as much as I liked season 1, but I'm really loving all of the performances for sure, and I love the visuals of it. And if you've seen the trailer for this coming up episode, that spiral is looking like it's going to be something really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only a little worried that, the next episode is the last episode, and there are a lot of things to wrap up. So that means it's going to happen fast and maybe not in a completely satisfactory way.
I wonder if they'll make like a 2-hour episode, or if it's. I don't know. There is a lot. There's a lot to get through. So.
Yeah. Definitely an improvement over the last couple seasons, which I really remember very little about now.
Yeah.
First one, awesome.
Yes.
This one, pretty damn good.
I've only seen season 1 and this one, so I've skipped out on season 2.
There's good stuff in both the other seasons, but no, those seasons needed 6 episodes to tell their story.
Yes, exactly. Plus, you're following up. What you're following up is just, it's rough. So, per usual, I'll go in a different direction. A 7 release from a while ago called Cathy's Curse.
I love this movie.
Okay, yeah, yes. It was, Severin does that kind of, the Criterion does that Criterion Closet. Well, Severin does the Severin Cellar, which is the same thing, same idea. And this movie came up in damn near every single one, it seemed. Like every other video of somebody, oh, yeah, this one's great. I love this movie. And I had never seen it. It's like, I've got to get this and check it out. And it is batshit crazy and really good. It's the idea of a lady dies in a car crash and takes over her niece.
Yeah.
And then kind of goes on a weird killing spree. And it is just bizarre, but incredibly well done. Is it Canadian? It seems like it feels Canadian.
For some reason, I thought it was like Australian.
Could be. I think that may be what it is, Australian, yeah. But it is just, probably is, because I kind of like the British Isles I mentioned last time. Australian movies, really fucking cool. The ones that are good.
The ones that are good. The ones that are bad are very bad.
Yeah.
This was a relatively recent watch for me, too. I think I just saw it last year for the first time, and I was like, why have I never seen this movie before?
Exactly. Well,
I'm definitely adding it to my list. That
definitely worth
awesome.
checking out.
You said it's a Severin?
Severin release, which sometimes after something's been on Severin for a while, it shows up on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
So it might be there. It might be on YouTube. It's been a while, so who knows where it might be at this moment.
Nice.
Well, another new movie that I watched that I did like quite a bit was called Lord of Misrule. Have you heard or seen anything about this?
I don't know.
It's a pretty recent rental. Eric, I think you would like this a lot. It's a folk horror kind of thing. And Vanessa, I think you would like it because it's really thoughtful and very creepy. I will just say I really, really enjoyed it. It is about a woman whose daughter goes missing in this small town during this festival. And then she finds out that this is not the first time something like this has happened. And it turns out that, the festival hides some very dark things in it. And there's, a little bit of cosmic horror in it. There's something much, much bigger than what you would think going on in this festival. It's got some really neat visuals that just every once in a while a shot would come on screen, like this woman walking towards this old house, and the sky beyond it has like a full eclipse going on, and there are stars visible and everything. I was just like, wow, holy shit, that is gorgeous. And then some kind of horrific stuff at the end. If you don't like being caught on fire, you might not want to watch this movie, but
oh my,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, happened before.
It is called Lord of Misrule. It is a rental, but I imagine it's been a rental for a long time and it has dropped down to like $5.99. I imagine it's going to be hitting Amazon or Shudder or something like that pretty soon.
Cool. Yeah, it looks good.
No, that sounds incredible. Well, So as you guys know, I've created life, which means
she's alive, alive.
Speakers, lightning.
And this is what it feels like. Every once in a while I look at her, I'm like, how the fuck did you happen? This is wild. You have my eyes, but they're not my eye color. But anyway, so we're on a shift system, which means I am up from about 3 or 4 in the morning until 8-ish in the morning. And so I'm just watching stuff. And I have finished 6 years worth of This Is Us.
Oh my God.
This is not something I would typically want to talk about on the show, but I've committed such an amount of time
Sure.
to this.
Help you looking forward to being part of a family, is it?
I don't know. I mean, it's not really. It's a very soap opera-y thing, and a lot of people love it, and it is really good for network TV. I think I'd mentioned it once before that I started watching it. There's great actors in it. There's a lot of really clever, interesting decisions. It's about 3 people who are born on the same day. They're not quite triplets because one of them's adopted, but they're treated as triplets. And sometimes they'll do a story arc where it's like from each of their perspectives, like the same event, or they'll take like themes and use it against them, or there's cool little things happening within it, but it's still fucking network TV. And you can't get away from that. So every X number of minutes, you've got a commercial break. And so the pacing of it is just bizarre. And then they always end on something that's almost cliffhangery. Mm-hmm. And it just sort of, I don't know, it takes it from something that could be really, really good and makes it kind of, and also there's a lot of old people makeup on Mandy Moore that I cannot look at. Mandy Moore is a young, beautiful person. And same with Milo. I cannot pronounce his last name. Ventimiglia, who I loved from Gilmore Girls. I've watched his career for a while now because I saw him in that. And I mean, they're all great, but watching her be like an old person who's like sort of out of touch with the young folk, I'm like, but you're still Mandy Moore. Like, I can see it.
Well, wait a second. Is she always in old makeup, or are they doing flash forwards or something?
There are tons of flashbacks, flash forwards. There's probably 6 different time periods you're going between. And you know, in the last season, it's basically like her final year of being alive. So she's really old.
Wouldn't want to give that role to an actual aging actress.
That's the cool thing is like sometimes, I mean, bad thing, like sometimes they do. Sometimes when they're little kids, they then age them up to a completely different actor who looks shockingly like these people. This is some of the best casting. I'm like, I know exactly who this is just looking off of the next actor up frequently, which is so rare to do. But yeah, for her, I really wish they'd just cast some different. Go full The Crown on this, guys. It's fine. Just fully recast. Our imaginations will take us with you.
That's true.
There you go.
This Is Us. Okay. Can't wait.
6 years worth.
Can't wait to never watch this.
If you're going to watch one, watch them all. You know?
Just go for Lay's potato chips for television.
Yes, that is 100%. If you ask me really any details of any particular episode, I can't tell you. God knows.
Well, continuing on the non-genre, I guess, I'll just go with one of the A24 films I hadn't watched. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Spring Breakers.
Oh my God, Spring Breakers, sure. All right.
Have both of you seen this?
I have not.
I have.
It's okay. It's interesting to look on Letterboxd. It is one of the more across-the-board rating things I've ever seen, of things all the way to 1, all the way up to 5, and tons of stuff in between.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of okay. There's about 45 minutes of a movie in this 94-minute film.
Yep.
And a lot of it could be fun if it wasn't done so music video strange with, God, at least 4 scenes of James Franco yelling about what a badass he is and how he's got all these guns and money and this is me, this is my, I mean, will you shut up already, please?
What is the premise of this film?
There's a group of 4 college-age women who want to go down for spring break. One of them is, what's her name? with the Steve Martin. She's in that Steve Martin show that's on Hulu now.
I want
got her sitting right here. Why not just
not Miley Cyrus.
Selena Gomez.
Yes, Selena Gomez.
And she plays the good girl. She's going to church and doing all this stuff. And then her other three friends decide they don't have enough money to go, so they rob like a Denny's-like place to get the money they need. And then they jump in a car and go down to spring break and have normal spring break stuff going on, the drugs, the parties, the things along those lines, until they run into James Franco's character, who bullshits them, I guess is a good way to talk it. Selena wants nothing to do with it. So in weird movie thing, she gets on a bus, leaves, and is never seen again in the movie.
Okay.
And one of the other women ends up popping on a bus and disappearing, and you never see her again. But the others go on a crime spree, and there's James Franco, and then there's his big rival gang guy, and they're fighting for the territory. And so they go in a big shooting spree and all this stuff, just escalating violence. So the story's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but the way it's shot is frenetic in a way that doesn't work because it's so repetitive. I don't mind a frenetic story. I don't mind crazy editing, wild back and forth stuff. Yeah. But they use the same shots of people partying on the beach 7 or 8 times at least. And they're minutes long. It's not just, here they are again. It's, here's this scene again. And then James yelling and bitching, standing on his bed for, I'm pretty sure one of the scenes is probably 5 minutes long of him just standing on his bed, bragging about who he is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh. So there's a lot. I can see why this movie is heavily rated between 5s and 1s because it's really well shot. It's really energetically fun to watch for a while. And all the performances are really good, except when they go too long.
Yeah.
I don't, it's just, yeah, I can see why it hit hard and then has kind of faded away.
I think it suffers from that. They were one of the first to do a certain kind of style and a certain kind of thing of this like dirty, youthful, cool, but artistic filming that obviously A24 is perfect place for it to end up. But I think because they were early at it, they probably got a lot of critical praise at the time.
Sure.
And has, of course, aged to be difficult to sit through, because we've seen much, much better versions of this thing since.
And I was really surprised. The director, Harmony Korine, is also director of Gummo. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
No.
Truly one of the most uncomfortable film watching experiences I've ever had.
Oh.
Very hard to watch, but nothing like this movie.
Sure.
So there's fairly talented director behind this. It was a frustrating watch because like, God, this could be really, really good.
It's definitely one of those films that suffers from a and then style, because like just trying to even remember what the plot was aside from James Franco and some cute girls, I just cannot remember for the life of me.
I gotta say, titles are so important because when I hear the title Spring Breakers, I think it's going to be like a funny movie or a party movie or something like that.
And it has that aspect to it.
I feel like I've heard his name. But maybe music.
Well, Gummo's pretty big on the fucked up movie viewing experiences. That's why I ended up watching it, because it pops up on lists with horrifying stuff, and it's really, really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
But if you like that action, you like what was the jewelry heist movie?
Yeah, I was thinking of the jewelry heist movie. I cannot remember with
Adam Sandler.
Rare Gems or whatever.
If you like that frenetic energy, you might like this film.
Or if you like irritating youthful people, then you'll like that one where they're murdering each other in a house or whatever.
Yes,
I can't remember what that one's called either.
I like to see
Bodies.
that Venn diagram of irritating youthful people and heist movies.
And Adam Sandler's just somewhere in the middle.
All right, while we contemplate that, why don't we take a break? And then when we come back, we are still talking vampires.
My coach
chocolate cereal is so chocolatey, it's scary.
Yeah!
With chocolatey marshmallow bats, ghosts, blobs, and lightning. It's okay. My cereal tastes so chocolatey, you'll scream for more.
Awesome!
And now for a scary chocolatey taste that'll make your head spin.
I've swirled my marshmallow ghosts with chocolate.
Count Chocula cereal, a frightening part of this good breakfast.
With a chocolatey fright in every bite.
We are back. Guys, when I first started thinking about this vampire thing, I was like, I want to do vampires for a month. I wanted to do Vampuary. Actually, I wanted to do November. And we got our fucking asses handed to us and had to do whatever the fuck we were doing back in November that we all hated, except for Eric.
That's right.
Video Nasties.
Video Nasty November.
Mm-hmm.
So then I thought we got to do Vampuary. But then, Vanessa, you threw a real wrench into this by deciding you wanted to bring life into this world.
You didn't miss a beat. You had Steve here. I know.
But that was just it. I was like, okay, so let's make this a real general kind of thing that we can ask any guest host to do.
Mm-hmm.
But with that in mind, I thought we were going to be having other problems, and I didn't expect you to come back so quickly.
Sure.
So, which I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, you're welcome. It sounds like you're thrilled to have me.
I am thrilled to have you, but had I known that you were going to bounce back immediately, I wouldn't have said, let's make this super easy for another fucking month. I would have said, let's go back to something else. But here we are on our 14th week of vampires.
Yeah, it's bad when even I'm starting to get sick of it, and I am 2 weeks behind y'all.
Well, and the thing is, I love vampires. I got a gigantic Dracula ballet poster on one wall. I'm just vampired out.
It's funny because I asked Austin, my husband, hey, do you want to help me choose a vampire movie? And he's like, I'm going to sit this one out.
Oh, really?
He watched one with me, and he was like, I'm good. No, he watched, in fairness, he watched 2. So.
Yeah. Well, with all that in mind, Eric.
I will kick us off of our last. Anyways.
Here's 10 minutes.
Thank you, Zach. So, I'm still in the 70s, going through my Eurocrypt of Christopher Lee, Volume 2, with Dracula and Son.
What happens when Dracula has a son? What happens is one of the zaniest, funniest, craziest films of the year. Christopher Lee is back in Dracula and Son. It's all you ever wanted to know about vampires, but were afraid to ask. Don't miss the boys from Transylvania. Dracula and Son. It will bite you in the funny bone. Rated AB positive, RH negative, and PG.
From 1976. Again, no critic reviews. But 50% on Rotten Tomatoes from the crowd. So that's a nice move up. This is available to rent on Amazon. So it's pretty easy to get. And if the Eurocrypt is, I'm pretty sure it's still available, you can get that.
Mm-hmm. So
this is directed by Eduardo Molinaro, whose movies are Male Hunt, To Commit a Murder, A Pain in the Ass, and the pretty damn good film La Cage aux Folles 1 and 2, and Door on the Left as You Leave the Elevator.
That's so specific. Is that Italian?
Alain Godard, this is his first feature as a writer, but you might know him from Enemy at the Gates and The Name of the Rose. Or I'm Shy, But I'll Heal.
My favorite.
Jean-Marie Perry. She's in Young, Beautiful, and Screwed Up.
Good.
I think I lived that movie.
The Visitors, and Santa Claus is a Stinker.
Whoa, that sounds promising.
Yes. And Edward was also a writer on it. He also has credits for The Birdcage. I'm assuming that's because he wrote La Cage aux Folles.
Mm-hmm.
And actor Christopher Lee, who you might know from Star Wars, Wicker Man, Lord of the Rings, Dracula, Police Academy, Mission to Moscow, and Sherlock Holmes.
The decade of the 1970s.
And the 60s.
And 60s.
Bernard Menez for Day for Night, The Big Feast, and Don't Cry with Your Mouth Full.
Good advice.
Marie-Hélène Berlot, who was Last Tango in Paris, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and Fanny and Alexander. So quite the pedigree there.
Wow.
So this movie also opens with a horse-drawn carriage hurtling through the woods, traveling so quickly that the film is magically sped up.
Weird.
It's very strange.
That's awesome.
So they're trying to get out of the woods before night falls. Gee, what could be that reason? But the carriage breaks a wheel, and while they're fixing it, a couple wanders off to let us know all about vampires. Like, oh, thanks. Too late, the vampire carriage arrives, but a new one has come forth, and it's taking the young lady and her mother to Dracula's castle. It's weird because Dracula's son, so he takes the woman, seduces her, has sex, but doesn't bite her.
Oh. Because
she wants her to father a son for him. And as soon as she does, then he bites her and becomes the bride of Dracula. So the baby, when it's born, gets a cute little coffin that it sleeps in.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
This is advertised as pretty much a comedy, but oddly enough, despite everything I just said, this is done very seriously. 15 minutes in, I'm going, well, that was a comedy. But there's a related story of a guy writing a book about fighting vampires. Wonder who he could be. I've never seen a movie with a vampire where crosses dispatch them so quickly. It's like touch, boom, they're gone. It's like, well, that's convenient. And Dracula's new bride, though, gets trapped out in the sun and is destroyed. 5 years later. The son is older, and now is when it kind of tries to turn into a comedy. Funny things like, for some reason, Christopher Lee puts his wife's ashes, he's looking at them 5 years later or something, puts them down, and the kid takes his skull out and plays bowling with them. And then he locks the lady of the house, maid or nanny helping him, locks her out in the sun, so she bursts into flames, and he's like,
oh my God.
What is the humor here? And then 116 years later.
Wow. Oh, sure.
So, and Dad's very upset because he's still bottle feeding. He has yet to kill somebody to drink their blood. So he tries to, figures we're just going to go to the New World, and we need to get coffins. So they fight two Frenchmen to kill them and use their coffins to travel, not realizing these are naval officers. So they get buried at sea.
Oh, no.
So they drop the two coffins in the water. The son wakes up in France. The dad wakes up in London. So they're separated. And the dad is fairly lost until he's running down the street trying to chase a woman. And two casting directors going, he'd be perfect. So they hire him and to become Dracula in their new movies.
Oh my God, that's so meta.
And his son is not faring too much better, involved in donating or trying to steal blood, but gets caught and ends up donating blood instead. And his friends are all immigrants and dealing with the crap of being an immigrant in France. So he's involved in that fun stuff. Then they get reunited. He sees his dad on television. The famous actor who plays Dracula is coming to there. And apparently he was living as a vampire. His shtick was as an actor, no, I actually am a vampire. There you go, more meta, because, he is. But they
oh my God.
Eric, this sounds fucking awful.
This is like Inception levels.
It's really not great. But wait, there's less.
Oh my God.
The agent wants Dracula to do a toothpaste commercial.
No.
He doesn't want to, but his son does, so that they get in a rift about that. So, anyways, will his son do the commercial? Who will win the love of the woman they're both obsessed with? Tagline from this: the man who brought you Le Cause au Fol comes another very funny movie.
We promise.
Yes.
We swears it.
Okay, now here's a pretty interesting part of it, though. It's a short film. It runs like 89 minutes. The U.S. release was 20 minutes shorter and completely re-edited and completely redubbed as a farce with real heavy comedy. And both versions are on the disc. I'm like, I think I'll check out this a little bit. And it's like, what was it? What's Up, Tiger Lily?
Oh, okay.
Where they just replace everything. It's funny for a little while, but it just gets kind of exhausting.
Right.
Because, the Zucker brothers hadn't come along yet to show how to really do this well.
Right.
So it's an attempt at having every line be funny to where no lines become funny after a while. Like they do this bit where Christopher, it turns into a still shot of Christopher standing in front of a maid looking for help. And the joke is he keeps asking for somebody different. And they keep showing this exact same shot. It starts, it freezes, he says his line, it starts again.
Oh my God.
I gotta tell you, it was better than old Dracula.
No.
Simply because there was a moment or two that was flat out laugh out loud funny. Unfortunately, it's only a moment or two.
Oh.
But the overall Christopher Lee purists only probably, and even then you may not like it. But yeah, it was not the worst I've seen, but it definitely was not the best.
Rave reviews. I know. I'm tired just listening to you talk about this movie. Sounds fucking exhausting.
So I'm good. Vanessa, would you like to?
Well, you beat your time.
Yeah.
Buzzer's going off now.
Hey, there you go.
And we'll start it up again. 10 minutes for Vanessa.
All right. Well, I'm going to take us into a very, very different direction here with the 1987 movie Near Dark.
Sure haven't met many girls like you.
No, you haven't met any girls like me.
I put my hand on the stocking. I was moving nice and slow. Get my fingers do the walking. And it ain't far to go. Don't kill me. I don't wanna be a girl like that. Do you wanna see a grown man cry? You don't wanna be a girl like that. Maybe this could be the first time. This could be the first time. Naughty, naughty, cute and holy. Tease me. Take it easy. Hug and squeeze me. Love out of line. If your hair hung down and your dress riding high, and your eyes burning hot like the sun, kiss me hard, squeeze me tight, oh, I love you alright. Summer naughty, naughty, naughty guy. Bullseye.
Near dark. Pray for daylight.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Which we have not done before.
Maybe.
It's on our list.
Sure seems like we should have.
I know.
feels
I
like we
thought you
have.
should have too. And I was like, why is it on the anyways? So if we've done it before, I apologize, but I've never done it before and I've never seen it until now. So
Oh, wow.
Oh, whoa.
Rotten Tomato score of 83% from critics and 74% from audience. Budget of $5 million. Box office of $3.4 million.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Written and directed by Catherine Bigelow, who has 22 credits to her name, including Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Strange Days, which is awesome, Detroit, and recently some short films and an iPhone ad. I don't know why her career has taken that direction, but okay.
Here's your check. Oh, yes.
I love it. Co-written by Eric Red, who has 14 credits, including Body Parts, Bad Moon, and The Hitcher. This is starring Adrian Pastor, and I apologize when I go through this, by the way, this review. If I pronounce anything horrifically wrong, it's because I spelled it wrong, because I was doing multiple things at the same time, and that did not equate to good spelling on my keyboard typing. So, Adrian Adrian Pastor in he has 95 credits, including Carlito's Way, Top Gun, Streets of Gold, Big Time, 24 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Glenn Talbot. Pretty sure that's wrong. 60 episodes of Heroes as Nathan Petrelli, and recently a lot of voice work, including 76 episodes of Avengers Assemble, mostly as Iron Man.
Yeah, he's got a cool voice.
He's got a cool voice. Jenny Wright, 28 credits to her name, including St. Elmo's Fire, The Chocolate War, Twister, Young Guns 2, and The Lawnmower Man. Lance Henriksen, which we have talked about before in episode featuring a glance from Lance. Is that what we call it? 269 credits to this guy's name, including Aliens, Quick and the Dead, Hard Target, many, many, many others. And Bill Paxton, 99 credits to his name, including Aliens, Apollo 13, Twister, Frailty, and 6 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The story follows Caleb Colton, who's a young man in a small Texas town full of confidence and rocking a cowboy hat. He runs into an attractive young drifter named May. He sees her eating an ice cream cone, and he's like, "You're not from here." She's like, "I am not from here." And he's like, "I'm going to hit on you." And she's like, "Sounds good. Let's jump in your car and drive around this small town for a while," which they do. They kind of go around the desert together, exploring different parts of town. He's showing her all the cool things, the haunts, and they look at the stars together. And there's definitely some chemistry. But the sun starts to maybe think about rising, and she freaks out a little and insists that he drives her back to the trailer park where her family is hanging out. He finds this a great moment to flirt with her, pull over, turn the car off, and say, "Well, if you kiss me, then I'll keep driving you there." And she's like, "The sun is fucking coming." So she makes out with him, gets really into it. I don't know if she's angry kissing him or she's like trying to convincingly kiss him, but she gets a little carried away, gives him a nice little bite. The sun starts to rise, and she jumps out of the car and just books it across this field. And he's like, "All right, that was interesting." His car won't start, so he starts to walk on foot back to his family's ranch, which is apparently not too far away. But midway there, as the sun is now bright in the sky, he starts to smoke and feels intensely unwell. He is sweating like a mofo. This is not going well for him, and he's almost home when a blacked out RV pulls up and people inside grab him and throw him in. Now I'm confused because the people who just grabbed him right before he was about to die then insist on killing him. And I'm like, this seems like you could have just left him there and it would have done its own work. It's May and her friends who are a gang of vampire buddies. And it turns out, though, that as soon as she reveals that he's been turned by her, they're like, "Okay, well, we won't kill him, but he only has so long to live. He's got to prove himself that he can be worthy of our gang." So they try to kind of put him through various trials, but he doesn't want to kill people. He very much doesn't want to kill people. In fact, he has to basically start eating off of May when she's killed people, because that's the only way that he's going to feed. They kind of give him a last run by taking over a bar and offering him another person, and then deciding they're too excited by it and then eating these people themselves. And then finally one runs off into the night, and he is out to follow it and see if he can do it. If not, they are going to torture him and slowly kill him. Of course, he doesn't. But he does prove himself to these guys in another way, which is fine because he's ready to become part of their crew until his family, who's been searching for him and following them on the road, catches up with them. And the vampire gang wants to eat them. And he's like, hell no. And suddenly it becomes him versus the gang. How is he going to fare against these crazy, cool, awesome, don't give a fuck vampires? Some thoughts about this. I guess I built this up in my head. I had to get a subscription to Criterion to watch this movie. It is not available anywhere else.
Wow.
Yeah, you cannot pay for it on Amazon. You can only get it through subscribing to Criterion. There's a lot of people who've loved this film for a long time. It has some fucking goofy music. The music in this is ridiculous, and it makes it really hard to think of this as anything other than zany, and there are a lot of zany moments. It also ends on like an awkward freeze frame. This is not the serious artistic piece that I thought it would be. However, it does also have some really beautiful, cool shots. It's got insanely interesting scenes, like him sucking May's blood out of her wrists. And in the background, there's the oil rigs going up and down. Like, that is a cool visual. There's way too good of acting for an indie vampire film. It is hitting far above its bell class. I think Bill Paxton and also Lance Henriksen, just honestly, everybody in this is doing work, like really good work. A little bit of trivia on this. Tagline, pray for daylight, which is a pretty cool tagline. Future husband James Cameron, of course, Bigelow, told her she should use his ready-made ensemble cast from his recent hit Aliens from 1986. Thus, Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, and Jeanette Goldstein all appear in Bigelow's film. In fact, the movie theater in the small town where this is set has Aliens on the marquee. According to Bill Paxton, the driver that gives him the finger when he's hitchhiking is played by none other than James Cameron, who had visited the set that day. The word vampire is never mentioned in this film. And Lance Henriksen actually went fully method for his role here, coming up with a backstory and adding makeup touches like broken fingernails to his character. He also went into the town they were shooting in at night while in character and ended up scaring a waitress at Denny's. He also picked up a hitchhiker who was so freaked out by him that he asked to leave as soon as they got near an inhabited area. Lance then had to explain that he was just messing with him and gave the guy $80 for being a good sport. So that was my film. I don't know. It was interesting. I think pieces of it are going to sit with me, but I don't know that I loved it.
This is a film that I love, but it falls apart immediately on a rewatch.
Yeah.
The fact that the girl is not aware of how close the sun is when she decides to go on this drive with him at the beginning.
She's been alive or been a vampire for quite a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff is kind of like, okay. I mean, it works for a first-time viewing because you're wondering what's going on.
Right,
But
right.
as soon as you find out that she's hundreds of years old and all that.
Yeah.
Also, the end, the way that they kind of decide to fix vampirism
it doesn't make any
weird.
sense.
It's goofy and it kind of mars an otherwise really strong movie.
Yeah, as soon as he got a blood transfusion from his dad, spoiler, sorry guys, I'm like, was this from an animal or from your dad? And then where did your dad's blood go?
Right.
Like, did he have enough blood to fill your whole body or what happened here? And then he transfuses her and it's like you kind of ripped away the thing that made her her.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you didn't even ask her, but I don't know. There was something weird about that. And then you end on a freeze frame of her looking kind of hesitant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the movie,
but
it's
that
got
scene in
issues.
the pool hall, the bar,
Yeah, that's
is
crazy.
one of the great vampire going batshit crazy scenes in film.
Knowing that everybody in there is like, I'm going to fucking die horribly.
And Bill Paxton is so
good.
in that role.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of kid vampires in general, and the one in this kind of bugs me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he went on to be a pretty good actor. I think
he went and first of all, he's the son of Father Karras in The Exorcist.
Oh, that's right.
He's the half brother of Jason Patric from The Lost
there you
Boys.
go.
And he's the director of, I believe it was called The Final Girls.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So he's done it because it's just that I'm a kid, but I'm actually hundreds of years old. It's like, you're still a kid. And your acting is good enough to almost make it work. But when you're with Lance and Bill and those just chewing up scenery.
And if that's the case, why is he so obsessed with like the other little girl? You're like,
that's
just
a little creepy.
Creepy at that point. And then like, are you trying to eat her or turn her? And if you turn her, then is it because you want to make like a playmate? Like, what the fuck is happening here? Yeah, I was not sure about that, but
Still,
yeah, he did a good job for that kind of role.
Yeah, it's still it all kind of works in its own weird way, but
Yeah.
it definitely has strange storytelling elements that need some reworking.
Ironically, it's not as good a story as The Lost Boys, but I like it way more than The Lost Boys.
They both have a very atmospheric, like interesting, tonal, like you're on a ride. You're on a ride through a specific era with really strong characters.
Yeah. Did you say that was also written by Catherine?
Yeah, co-written.
Okay. I would have expected a little stronger.
Maybe she would have been pretty young.
Yeah,
this would have been one of her first.
All right. Well, I'm putting 10 minutes on, but I won't need 10 minutes because I don't have a ton of stuff to say about this film.
Okay. Coming out the gate strong.
I'm just going to say that, well, I'll just let you guys hear it. I chose from 2018, The Lake Vampire.
Domingo 9 de marzo de 1975.
Supongo que debo explicar lo de los sacrificios. Hay quienes quieren la vida eterna en el paraíso. Yo no, comisario. Yo quería una vida infinita aquí en la tierra, gozar de los placeres terrenales sin límites.
Dígame, ¿usted piensa escribir un libro sobre esto?
Quizá.
Bueno, yo le sugiero que se busque otro tema.
¿Quién era Zacarías Ortega? Dígame una cosa, comisario. ¿Usted reza?
No creo en Dios ni en el diablo, si eso es lo que me pregunto.
Pero sí debe creer en el mal.
Agapito. ¿Qué pasó con Zacarías Ortega?
Ortega tenía una forma muy particular de entender el mundo. Y nosotros, otra muy distinta. ¿Cuál es la verdadera? Vaya usted a saber.
Quiero a Zacarías Ortega.
Aquí no lo va a encontrar.
Tranquilo, Navarro. El diablo se aparece solito.
Oh.
I found this movie on Tubi. Budget? I could find no information. Box office? I could find no information.
Oh, God.
Rotten Tomatoes critics? Not enough reviews to have a percentage. Nothing from the audience.
Oh, my God.
Written and directed by Carl Zettelman, who has 6 credits, all of them short films except for this. Also written by Frank Baez Quevedo, who did Mission H2O, The House at the End of Time, a couple others, and then based on a novel by Norberto Jose Olivar. Starring Socrates Serrano, who has 23 credits, including The Night of Two Moons, The Dance, and Hotel Providencia, and Miguel Angel Landa, 61 credits, including the 86 and The Whistler Pandemonium. All right. Film starts with a radio broadcast about the discovery of a girl's severed head and the belief that the murder is part of a satanic ritual. We meet retired police inspector Jeremias Morales, who turns off the radio, and instead he plays an old cassette tape that is clearly a police confessional tape. Mm. Then we are introduced to writer Ernesto Navarro, who had a best-selling book several years ago and has been looking for a new subject to write about. When we meet him, his ex-wife is throwing all of his stuff out the window of their apartment, and he's shouting at her from the sidewalk. He tells her he needs his books, and she throws them out also.
Excellent.
So the next scene is he's at a book signing in an empty bookstore, and the books he needed were the books to sign. And nobody has come to buy anything, which is why you will never see me signing at a bookstore. Just before he's about to leave, he's approached by a man who has an old copy of his old book, and he very quickly autographs the inside sleeve of the book and leaves. Now, I don't like that that's where he autographs it. It makes no sense to me. That's just not where you autograph a book, but it comes back. So the next day, he's awakened by police at his door who drag him to a pretty brutal murder scene where the guy was beheaded. And the only real clue is that the man is holding a scrap of paper. And of course, it turns out to be a chunk of the book sleeve with his autograph on it. Although he doesn't seem to understand that for some reason. He says, I've signed a lot of books over the years, so it could be anyone. And I'm like, this is clearly the book that you just signed, so I don't know why he's not. Anyway, and he is suddenly super interested in this case, though. The police don't want to deal with him. But he's like, I have found my new subject. This is what I'm going to be writing about. So he's able to bribe his way into the morgue where he finds out that the victim had been drained of blood before he was beheaded.
Yeah.
Also, he finds the retired detective, Morales, who's now interested in the case because it seems to mirror the case he was working on in the 70s. Morales doesn't really want to talk to him, but eventually ends up telling him the story of how he caught the lake vampire, a guy named Zacharias Ortega, whose crimes are the same as this new killer, who the press is calling the Southern Devil.
Ooh.
So from here, the film starts flipping back and forth from the present to the past with a much younger Morales capturing Ortega, who doesn't seem like a vampire as much as just this crazy wild man who catches people and then starts biting them. He doesn't have the fangs or anything. He's just a blood drinker. Ortega apparently committed suicide after 5 years in prison, but then more crimes start up again. And they're blamed on a copycat murderer, although a priest with a large black dog is blamed for them. But Morales is like, I'm not sure that we caught the right guy. And in fact, I think we might have killed the wrong guy.
Uh-oh.
So he's got all of this doubt and history of possibly being not the best cop, all this stuff, and a ton of guilt about what happened. But then his investigation, so all of this stuff is being told, in story to Navarro. His investigation also led him to start finding murders before the original Lake Vampire that seemed like they should have been committed by the same person. And Ortega keeps being described as being inhumanly strong and thoroughly evil. In one of the confessional tapes, he claims to have discovered the power of blood by draining himself and drinking his own blood as he was doing it. Also, do not try this at home. That will not work. This is a very quick way to kill yourself.
That part of your body does not connect to the other part of your body.
Drinking your blood and putting it in your stomach does not put it back into your veins.
Correct.
He also claims to have made a deal with the devil. This deal includes him committing suicide. But if the vampire is not buried in 3 days, then he might come back to life. And so while this is all going on, Navarro is investigating other stuff on the side, and he starts finding these satanic murder rituals in videos that he finds on the dark web. So now there's this kind of vampire type thing going on, and these satanic murder videos, and are they somehow related? Is this guy the lead of this? And the reason I don't want to talk too much about this is because this fucking movie is awesome, you guys.
Oh, interesting.
It is a really solid mystery, the biggest part being that throughout, you're not sure that this killer should be the same one either. You're watching this going, what? This doesn't quite sound like it's a vampire who keeps coming back. It sounds like different people doing the same kind of thing over and over. So you don't even know if there's really a supernatural aspect to this until towards the end. I will talk about this instead. The film opens with the Uncorked Productions title card, which we all know is the sign of a shit movie, right? But this movie is really great. It looks great. The acting is really strong. The writing is fantastic. The flashbacks all feel very true to the time period they're taking place in, so there's some money here. Also, remember that movie I talked about with the artist who was fucking the hole in the wall and it was giving him stuff. That was also an Uncorked movie, and I really enjoyed that one too. So they're snatching up some good stuff lately.
That's good.
This movie is free on Freevee. So there's literally no trivia on this movie. It's too recent and unknown, and it only has a literal handful of reviews, which I'm going to read a few of.
Oh,
it had like 4 reviews. Here they are. 10 out of 10 from Joe Black 238316. One of the best horror movies ever made. He says, I'm not sure why the rating is so low. It is an excellent vampire movie. Loved it. The next review, 9 out of 10 from Will Tame 11. An excellent police procedural / investigation thriller that has very dark feel. This Venezuelan Spanish language film builds a great atmosphere as the non-linear story unfolds. I was lucky enough to catch it at this weekend's Sohome Horror Festival. I really don't understand how this clever film has not been picked up for worldwide distribution. I had to buy the physical disc today so I could rewatch it. The next review, 7 out of 10. I guess I have the honor to write the first review for this Venezuelan movie. The acting was top-notch. Nothing bad to write about anybody from the cast. And then the lowest review, 6 out of 10. This movie is really well made in terms of technical aspects. It is really well shot. Lighting is great. Sound is great. It also has a very unsettling atmosphere all throughout. It was kind of disturbing, actually, although there's not much gore in it. The times there are really disgusting.
Why 6 out of 10?
Just one of those kind of reviewers.
Who knows?
Sure.
You know, there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10. So, The Lake Vampire, I was just blown away. This is just one of those ones that popped up when I was looking for vampire films, and I saw it was available on Tubi, and I was like, well, I'll give this a try, because there were a number that I started watching, and I was like, no, not watching Frost or Frostbite or whatever that was.
Oh, sure.
I thought I could get into it. I could not. This one I got into just right off the bat because it looked so good. I was like, boy, this is a very accomplished indie film.
Oh, damn.
So,
And what year was this
2018.
made? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then nothing from this guy since. You know, no reviews, all of this stuff. I was like, this poor guy just fucking busted his ass on an amazing movie that no one has seen.
You know why? COVID.
Well, I thought that at first, but I think more it's because I don't know what happened when they were trying to sell this, but how did Uncorked get this instead of,
like
Shutter?
Yeah, somebody that would have jumped on a film like this and really kind of given it a better thing. Because for me, often if the Uncorked logo comes up, I'll go, whoops, I chose wrong, and I move on.
Yeah.
Now you can wait and see a little bit longer.
You definitely threw me because I thought you were going to say that you hated it from the way you introduced this, but
no, I was just so bummed when I was done with it. I was like, let's dig into this. And it was like, no information available but the movie I just watched. So, okay, we are continuing with February, but Eric.
I'm going to mess it up.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
You know what? Vampires aren't the only things with fangs.
What?
Snakes.
Whoa.
Dogs.
Oh.
Cats.
Oh.
Certain people. I mean, you could still do vampire if you want to. But anything with fangs.
Ooh.
However it comes about.
God bless you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the loophole. It's delivered.
Well, yes, that should be interesting.
Oh, God.
To find something
I already
new.
feel better.
I do too. I'm just thinking, I'm visualizing animals now, and I'm like, yeah, I could do like a dog or a wolf or I guess a snake. Harry Potter. I'm going to do Harry Potter.
Oh, my God. I can't wait to hear about Harry Potter and the curse of the snaky snake thing.
The snake friend.
Okay, perfect. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. Now is the time where we say thank you to everyone who's liking and sharing posts, who reaches out to us all the time. Big thanks to Craig, who constantly texts you and I, Eric, whenever we say something about a movie he likes.
Yes, and it's always an interesting film.
Yes.
I'm going to send out an apology too to I forgot to write the information down, but we were challenged to watch the first movie of, what was your favorite movie a couple years ago?
Oh, right. The history of the occult And then the first movie, I couldn't
We haven't
find
been
it.
able to. None of us have been able to find it.
Right.
So if you do, if I'm thinking the right movie, or if it's the guy who did Terrifier or Terrified.
Right. I don't think that it is that guy.
Okay. So reach out again. Let me know. Send me a message again, and we'll see if you know how to see it or anything.
Now that you're reminding me, this is ringing a bell. I think we were asked to watch the first movie of the guy who did Terrified, because he also did When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So yeah, that must be, and I wasn't able to find that anywhere.
Yeah. So if it's out there, let us know, because we want to.
Yes.
After those everything, I want to see everything this guy does. So
yeah. And big thanks to the people who are sharing the post when the episode drops. I always see Ron and Bob and Danny, everybody sharing these things, and that's really nice. We really appreciate it. Also, thanks to anyone who's participating in the value for value system, which is if you get some value out of this, turn around and give some value back. We cannot tell you how much to make that. That's something you have to decide. Maybe you got $1 out of it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Shiny dollar.
Mm-hmm. There's also on our site, there's the ability to buy us pizza. Mm-hmm. There's also a subscription plan where you can sign up and just monthly send us money because you love us. We really love that.
And I do want to clarify something for our listeners. When we say buy us a pizza, that is a way of donating towards us. That is not just giving us pizzas. My mom was very confused and wondered how many pizzas we were eating.
I can see that. Yeah.
And how all this money was going towards all these pizzas.
I could go for a pizza right now.
But technically, the site is Buy Me a Coffee, which might make a little more sense. But, buy me a pizza for some reason.
For
just
some reason.
More appropriate.
One day, I cannot wait to start cosplaying as She's Pizza again and get my daughter into a little pizza outfit, too.
Oh, God.
Just call her Little Slice.
Oh, I like that. You could make her a little olive or something that fits on you while you're... Oh, I love it.
A little pepperoni piece.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
God, it's so cute in here. All right, you guys get the fuck out of my house. I got shit to do.
It's too cute.
And we will see everybody in 7 short days where we are still celebrating February, but not talking about vampires.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
Things that are a little more old school, like books.